Everybody, Brian Neubert here from goldenblack.com here in the old home office. It is Christmas. Whatever holiday you observe in your household, I hope it is joyous, I hope it is fun, and I hope it is safe. All of those things. This is your goldenblack.com rap video following Purdue's 73-70 win over Maryland in Mackey Arena. I am not in Mackey Arena, obviously. I did a video at the arena. I did it very quickly in order to hurry so that the folks who work in the facility uh, didn't have to wait around for me. So I did it very quickly, and to be honest with you, I did not feel like it met my lofty standards for excellence that you have become accustomed to with these videos. So I decided I was going to scrap that one. It'll have to go as a B-side on a DVD one day or something. I decided to scrap that one and start anew. So here I am starting anew. Wanted to mention our sponsor, the Purdue Union Club Hotel. Next time you're planning a trip to campus, please keep them in mind for potential accommodations. They're newly renovated. It's my understanding they're very nice. Please keep in mind the Purdue Union Club Hotel. Purdue wins 73-70 over Maryland. Why do I have these things in? There's no audio coming the other way. I don't know why I do that. Purdue wins 73-7, 73-70, not 73-7 against Maryland. Obviously, a really important win for Purdue, given what Purdue has ahead on the schedule. Given that every win in the Big Ten this year, especially when you're as young and new as Purdue is a good win. But this is an especially good win for Purdue because you always want to win your home games, even in this year where home court advantage is not really much of anything. But also the fact that Maryland is very beatable. And you have a couple of really, really tough games coming up here with trips to Illinois and Rutgers. So this was a really important game for Purdue to get, regardless how the game played out. The game did play out in a manner where, Purdue really needed to get this game because when you're up 15 at home in the first half against a team that you're better than, you have to win that game every single time, pretty much, when you're in the situation Purdue's in here. And Purdue did it. It wasn't easy. Obviously, a lot of the same stuff that happened against Miami happened to Purdue again. They were up big in the first half. The opponent made a run. Purdue couldn't get stops defensively when it needed them. This time, Purdue did manage to do what it needed to do offensively, and it did that because of Brandon Newman and Jaden Ivey, Purdue's two young guards who are very, very promising players who have a very promising future in basketball, not only at Purdue, but potentially beyond Purdue. I know it's premature to be talking about that stuff, but I don't care. Those guys were really, really clutch, really, really good. They're both really talented players, have a lot of ability, but for them to come up big in the moments where Purdue needed someone to come up big, I think spoke volumes about what they're all about as competitors, and things like that. Jaden Ivey, you don't expect at this stage of his career, you don't necessarily expect for him to beat you from 3-point range. He'd been 1 for 9, I think, this season. Obviously, he missed a lot of the season, so those numbers are a little bit truncated. But he and Brandon Newman both. This is a very important point to make here. These guys are two players that have a little bit of Carson Edwards in them. And when I say they have a little bit of Carson Edwards in them, I don't mean they're comparable as players necessarily. I mean they work like Carson Edwards. These are guys who work like professionals. And Purdue's track record with guys who work like professionals is pretty damn good. And these are two very, very motivated, very, very competitive, very, very confident guys. And they both put a lot of themselves into their basketball playing. And both of them reaped the rewards today against Maryland, notably Jaden Ivey, because he hadn't been shooting the ball well lately. I think he needed those games that he missed due to his foot. He needed those 5 games. That, for freshmen, those games early in the season are the games where you get your legs under you, you get to play big minutes, and you just get to acclimate, you get to get into some kind of flow. And Jaden Ivey didn't get that opportunity. I think that showed since he's been back. I think he's been very up and down. I think he's not even had Prior to today, he hadn't shown you a glimpse of what he's capable of doing since Liberty. Liberty, he was good. The 4 games since, I think you've seen a flash here and there, but by and large, he's not been a fraction of what he's capable of being. Brandon Newman's been good all season for Purdue. He's had his ups and downs, but of course he has, and everyone on this team has, and he's a freshman. But you have seen the best of Brandon Newman to this point. So what he did today isn't as big of a big of an eye opener as what Jaden Ivey did in such an important moment. Brandon Newman just got shots, got buckets when Purdue needed someone to do something. He had most of his 17 points. I do have a box score today to read off. He got, I think, most of his 17 points in the second half. At least 4 shots came in really, really critical moments when Maryland was starting to make its run. Things like that. Just really, really clutch plays, both by Ivey and Newman. I know this game came down to the final minute, and Purdue won it in the final minute in the most anticlimactic fashion ever, winning the game with a goaltend and then 2 missed free throws by Maryland at the other end. This game, for as good of a college basketball game as it was, in the final 38 seconds was decided by a goaltend, and after that, 4 of 5 free throws were missed. So the final 45 seconds of this game or whatever did not do justice to how good of a college basketball game it was. Unfortunately for the basketball gods, I guess, but I know it came down to the final minute, and that's when Purdue won the game. But it wouldn't have come down to the final minute had Brandon Newman and Jaden Ivey not made the shots they made, because Purdue was walking a really fine line there, where if Maryland pulls ahead the way Maryland was trending, Maryland might have built a couple of possession lead there. Just the way that Purdue couldn't get stops, the way that Maryland was making threes. Purdue's saving grace today, one of them was that Maryland couldn't make a free throw. They were, 10 of 21 from the line. No bueno, as they say. That obviously was a really, really important element to this game, but it wouldn't have come down to the final minute, if you ask me, if had it not been for Jaden Ivey and Brandon Newman beating back those runs when they beat back those runs. Those were just enormous shots by 2 players who are going to be really good at Purdue, who are pretty good right now, but are going to be really, really good at Purdue. Why did this game get to this point? It just seemed to me like, Purdue is not good at containing the dribble. It is not their MO. Physically, it's not their strength. Their defense is built to protect the lane, because Purdue for the last several years has had teams where stopping the dribble against quicker, more athletic teams is a concern. So they're trying to do it. They're trying to do it systematically, whereas they might not necessarily be built to do it physically. So Purdue tries to do it as a team, protecting the lane, because one-on-one matchups for them against quicker, more athletic teams isn't going to go their way very often. So that's where Purdue kind of comes from defensively, but Maryland kind of had figured out they got past Purdue a lot. Purdue made a lot of mistakes. It seemed like a lot of blown switches, a lot of blown assignments. Purdue has to be good as a team defensively. They have to, because they don't necessarily have the individual pieces, I don't think, to be great as individuals. And that's where this gets really tricky. Is Purdue's got a lot of young guys out there who are still learning as they go. They have a lot of upperclassmen too who have struggled as team defenders before in their careers. So it's kind of a little bit, I don't want to say a toxic mix, but it is a difficult thing to overcome for what Purdue has to try to be defensively, and I think it really showed up in the second half against Maryland. They just could not stop them off the dribble. Maryland got them into scramble modes quite a bit, and to Maryland's credit, started making shots. If they could have made free throws throughout the game like they were able to make threes in the second half, albeit they only made 6 of them, that's not a huge number. It felt like they made more of them than that, though. This would have been a very different ball game. Purdue's got to get better defensively. That much is very clear. Purdue has to do a better job taking care of the ball. I know they only have 10 turnovers in this game. That is not a horrible number. It's not a good number, but it's not a horrible number. But when you look at the turnovers in the second half, it was the turnovers that gave Maryland energy. And it's not so much the number of turnovers, it's the impact of the turnovers. And I thought that in the second half, Purdue's turnovers were impactful because Maryland got a couple of runouts. Maryland was able to really chip away at Purdue's lead because Purdue had forsaken some possessions, and I thought that really put some wind behind Maryland's sails, to use a terrible cliche. Um, so again, it's not the volume of turnovers; it's the impact of the turnovers, and I thought the turnovers were more impactful today than they were numerous. So that again, every game this year will be a huge. That'll be the key to every game for Purdue, pretty much, because turnovers are so important for this team. Like they are every team, but they're more important for Purdue than everybody else. And Purdue's results this season have directly reflected that more than any other statistic imaginable. So Purdue was fortunate today that Jaden Ivey and Brandon Newman came up big. Purdue made the plays they needed to make in the final minute. Although I suppose you could say Maryland made the play for them because they goaltended the shot by Eric Hunter and they missed the two free throws that would have tied the game. So did Purdue win the game or did Maryland lose the game? That's a good question. But the reality is that Jaden Ivey and Brandon Newman saved Christmas, and that is huge for Purdue. Had to have this one with Illinois and Rutgers coming up, obviously. So that's what I've got from Purdue 73-70 win over Maryland. I'm sorry we don't have the nice background today. I could have run the one I had before. Again, it wasn't up to my normal standards of excellence. I know what you guys expect from your rap videos, and I aim to deliver. Right? If there's anything I've strived to do in my life, it's to set the bar as low as possible and exceed it more often than not. Obviously, wanted to also wish everyone a very, very pleasant, very, very happy, very, very safe holiday, and thank everyone once again for all your support, all your enthusiasm for our product. And as I said in my column on Wednesday, thank you so much for sticking with us during this very difficult year. 2021 has to be better than 2020 because it can't get a whole lot worse. But just wanted to thank everybody once again. As I said in my column again, when the pandemic first hit and we had to, figure out what the hell we were going to do, my motivation to getting our site to be as normal and as active as usual was to make sure that all of our users who've been with us for years or were just walking in the door had the community and had the sense of normalcy that I thought they needed more than and more now than ever. I thought that was kind of our responsibility to our people. As I found out, my work and our community really, really helped me get through this because it gave me normalcy and it gave me community. And thank you to everyone for that. That's the best way I can put it. Thank you so much for everything you've done for me in the past year. This has been a really, really weird year. And, as I said, as I've always said, we were all going to get through this together, and pretty soon we will have. So I hope everyone has a great Christmas, a great Hanukkah, whatever holiday you celebrate in your household. Again, I demand that it be joyous, safe, and fun. So thank you so much, everyone. Don't eat too much sugar tonight, and keep in mind the Purdue Union Club Hotel next time you're planning a trip to campus. You will not be sorry. Thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you again this week after Purdue plays at Illinois.